That's the law. Well, they didn't go up after 9/11. Everybody knew what had happened, and the planes were still on their way to Washington to hit the Pentagon, when suddenly from Otis Air Base comes one fighter plane. Otis Air Base is in Massachusetts. Might just as well have been in Canada. That was the only fighter plane which, according to law, they all should have been up there, and not one went up. Well, that could only happen if somebody had told them to stand down, not to respond to what was, after all, their sworn duty.
Where were our jets?
Right.
Where was our air defense that day when 4 individual airliners could be hijacked in a 2 or 3 hour period, and we had nothing up there to stop them? Well, this book will show you there was a stand down order that was done June 1st of 2001. Before that, it was left up to base commanders. They could make the call. If the FAA said we got a plane in trouble, they could scramble jets. But when this document came out, they weren't allowed to do that anymore. It required approval from the Department of Defense, the DOD. And remember, they couldn't find Rumsfeld for a couple of hours. So all it took was Don Rumsfeld not to answer the phone, and you had a stand down, which is what we had. I guess the apologists for the government, or the people that think I'm crazy, say that's just circumstance. It just happened that way. Well, in the words of L. Fletcher Prouty, Colonel Prouty, he always said nothing just happens, everything is planned.
I'm gonna miss you, Major. You aren't ready to stay dead. You don't know the rules of the game anymore.
Tell me about it. 8 years ago, this guy was on a hit list.
Budget cuts, dear. Congress blinded us overseas. I was forced to turn to any eyes and ears I could find, even if that meant recruiting the quote-unquote bad guys here.
Budget cuts? Is that what this is about? Operation Honeymoon. Fuck me. You're running a fundraiser.
Fundraiser?
1993. World Trade Center bombing, remember? During the trial, one of the bombers claimed the CIA had advanced knowledge. The diplomat who issued the terrorist visa was CIA. It's not unthinkable they paved the way for the bombing purely to justify a budget increase.
You're telling me that you're gonna fake some terrorist thing just to get some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Hennessy, I have no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people. So we're just gonna have to do it for real. Oh, blame it on the Muslims, naturally. Then I get my funding. Good night, old girl.
Maybe we'll put these terrorists in jail. But others will come here and take their place. I mean, that's what this country's all about, isn't it? Land of opportunity. Now we can't build a bubble around it.
John, let's get back to what we were talking about.
We can throw more agents at it, put more funding on it, but when push comes to shove, it's just so easy. This isn't over.
Next time we'll bring them both down. Next time we'll bring them both down.
You said they intend to bring us down in the middle of New York City? What if there is no bomb?
Well, how are they gonna bring it down?
Same way a dead man can drive a car.
What do you mean, no bomb?
Langley, I need you to hack into the aircraft's onboard navigation system. We need to know where we're headed.
Okay, go into headsets. I'll clone the Airphone's carrier. Make them think we're sending a ground-to-air fax.
That's one twisted Star 69.
I'll just get ready to ride the wave, hippie boy.
Just get me on that plane and I'll get you autopilot access.
How are you going to do that?
Airline telemetry systems use processors similar to those found in CB radios.
I'm in. We got ourselves a convoy.
What's your progress?
I've hacked into the flight control system output.
With a little bit of help.
It's what the brains of the plane is telling the little black box.
Course, heading, attitude, hold, yaw, axis, stabilization. What the heck's that?
Is that what it looks like?
I think it is what it looks like.
What does what look like?
Modem protocols. Remote access. Somebody on the ground's flying your plane.
Bogey, sir.
Keep your course. I need to know our flight plan.
I'm mapping the data now.
Byers, your flight's gonna make an unscheduled stop in exactly 22 minutes.
Corner of Liberty and Washington. Lower Manhattan.
World Trade Center. I'm going to crash the plane into the World Trade Center.
I'll tell the flight crew.
Lanley, can you override the flight control system?
I'm working on it.
What is this?
My name is Bert Byers. I work for the government. I believe this plane has been commandeered.
Sir, passengers are not allowed in the cockpit. I need you to return to your seat now.
You don't have control of this plane, and I don't know if we can get it back. Turn off your autopilot. There may be a chance that we can override it.
Sir, I'll be happy to contact your superiors in the government to Sir, damn it!
He's right. New York Center, this is Atlantic National Flight 265 Heavy. We are declaring an emergency. We have 110 souls on board, 16,000 pounds of fuel, and no dangerous goods or cargo to report.
Come on, Pro Hickey. Fronts have failed, haven't they?
There's still hope.
Hope my next turnout's as nice as my last one.
We've got manual override.
For those who don't know, I was an actor on The X-Files for 9 seasons, 10 years, plus our own spin-off, The Lone Gunman. I'm the one that looked like Garth from Wayne's World. Thank you very much for everyone who sent the buttons. Yeah, I had the long blonde hair and the horn rimmed glasses and the rock T-shirts with the Ramones and all that sort of thing.
Your pilot episode, tell us about that plot.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a pilot episode for The Lone Gunman, where the basic plot was the gunman had to stop a plane from flying into the World Trade Center 8 months before it actually happened. So when we got the script, it said, plane, World Trade Center. They filmed an entire airplane. They had a green matte screen, so they put the shot of the New York skyline in with the plane flying directly at it. And just seconds before we get computer control, we get it back to the pilots, and the pilots can pull the plane up and avoid hitting the World Trade Center. And part of that plot was that, as it said in the script, that this was to start an international war on terror. That this was, the Cold War's over, and that for the arms race to continue and keep the economy going, that they would start an international war on terror by flying the plane into the World Trade Center.
In fact, I want to play that clip from The Lone Gunman right now. Go ahead and roll that clip where they're describing why this terrorist event is going to take place. You have kind of the boss of the conspiracy theorists talking to his father who's in the government.
Right.
And so they're talking. Go ahead and roll that.
What is Scenario 12D? We know it's a war game scenario, that it has to do with airline counterterrorism. Why is that important enough to kill for?
Because it's no longer a game.
If some terrorist group wants to act out this scenario, why target you for assassination?
Depends on who your terrorists are.
The men who conceived of it in the first place. You're saying our government plans to commit a terrorist act against a domestic airline?
There you go. Indicting the entire government as usual. It's a faction. A small faction.
For what possible gain?
The Cold War's over, John. But with no clear enemy to stockpile against, the arms market's flat. But bring down a fully loaded 727 into the middle of New York City, and you'll find a dozen tin pot dictators all over the world just clamoring to take responsibility and begging to be smart bombed.
I can't believe it. This is about increasing arms sales.
Mm-hmm.
When?
Tonight?
Now, we shot that in March of 2000. So that script was written probably around January, February 2000. And then that aired, that would have been September, I think, or maybe even January 2001, because it was a mid-season replacement. And then September 2001 it happened. And I didn't even put it together. It was the writers who actually called me in the afternoon going, "Are you watching this?" And I went, "Well, why are the writers from the X-Files calling me?"
You've been fixing your sink, right?
Yeah, exactly. You remember that. Yeah, I got my sink went. I was at Home Depot. I had like other issues than watching the TV all day. And then suddenly it all gelled together all at once.
That's kind of good that we're so unplugged from mainstream media that you didn't even know it was happening.
Well, I heard about it.
I knew it like right when it happened. Well, sure, no, so they called you. But I mean, you hadn't gotten all the details, I understand.
Yeah. Chris Carter tells a story, and I met the psychic who was hired by the CIA just to hang out at Hollywood parties and then go back and drop emails about what she talked about. And this was the CIA keeping tabs on producers and writers of Hollywood movies because that's the...
Because the psychic with them's like their psychologists. These people spill their guts.
They spill their guts. And she went up to Chris Carter, who was at a party way in the back. She said, "Whatever you're working on is going to make you millions of dollars." And this was before he had launched the X-Files. And he actually told that same story, collaborated.
Now, also, you guys talk about the CIA, NASA, others planting ideas and scripts. And, I mean, come on. This is exactly what happened on 9/11. There is a government drill, actually 5 drills going on, flying planes into the very buildings.
Yep.
And now that's USA Today, folks. We told you that from our sources 2.5 years before it was in USA Today. Now it's admitted.
Yeah.
Okay? But we have this from our sources. Now it's admitted they have this drill. In the Lone Gunman pilot episode, this criminal group of the government is going to use a drill to make the rest of the government stand down, and they're going to fly it into there to attack Afghanistan, to smart bomb the tin-horn dictators. I mean, you cannot get any closer.
I know. And then to say, "Oh, we had no indication that this would ever happen." This was like the government's position. There was no information that this would happen. It was everywhere. It was in your popular media. It's in your books, you know.
Specifically, were you able to talk to Chris Carter and others? I mean, was that storyline planted on them? Where did they get that?
They said they got it from a Tom Clancy novel. I forget which one.
Which it's admitted that Tom does get that from the intelligence agency.
So it probably was then second or third hand. But
there's a drill to make everybody stand down, but his book doesn't do that. That part was added. I mean, I tell you, the mathematical chance of that happening.
We're doing a documentary called "The Truth Is Out There." Okay. We are all following all sorts of not just conspiracies, but different movements. We were on the Alex Jones show last week, Dr. Stan yesterday. So we're bringing it all together. It's how truth functions in our society and everybody involved. So it's a cool project.
How's Hollywood receiving you?
How's Hollywood receiving me?
Yeah.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Growing within the Hollywood community?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a huge movement. But like everybody, they're just like, my agent told me not to say anything. So, you know, they're the last to jump on board. Unless you don't, could give a shit. Then, that's me. So, yeah, well, it's more, they're worried about a paycheck, that's all. Everybody's got a mortgage. I know.
The American people are living in a matrix. They don't understand the truth of how things are working in this country, And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, who was one of the Rockefeller family, and he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me through an attorney, And we became friends. We started talking about things. And